This is the video for um, Part 6, Advanced Material Techniques, Section 2, where we're going to talk a little bit about how to add decals to a scene. And the first thing we do want to make sure before we actually jump into making it is that we do have our project set correctly to use decals. So we're going to go to Edit Project Settings, and we're going to search for at the top the debuffer decals. And we want to make sure that underneath this engine rendering, underneath lighting, this debuffer decals right here is checked on. If it's not checked on, make sure you check it on, and most likely you're going to have to restart your editor. But after that, you should be good to go. So decals are really neat in that it's going to allow us to make much more individualized textures in our scenes, with a lot more like speciality without having to import in crazy large or a lot of different textures. I don't keep using the word texture. So the example they're gonna work us through in the book is putting down some lines on this floor to indicate that this is like a hockey goal. So normally, if you didn't know how to use decals, if you had to do something like this, like, oh man, I have to make like a bunch of lines, some big lines, that's going to require me to import in like a crazy 8K texture with this floor repeated a bunch of times and with the lines drawn on it, but maybe it's like a really large space and maybe 8K isn't quite big enough, or maybe it's just super blurry because you don't want to go bigger than that. And then it's like another large texture, it takes up a lot of space. Maybe you also want to add some variation to places, like maybe you wanted to add some kind of wear and tear to this hockey goal. But then it's like, oh well, I gotta take that into Painter, and then I gotta make like some grunge and put that on there, and that's a whole nother texture I have to import in. But we can take care of both of these, adding lines to our floor and kind of adding some like superficial wear and tear to our hockey goal here using decals. So hopefully this will really help you start to push some of your environments if you are doing environments. And these are, Unreal does them, and you can do them in Unity as well. So this is just a really interesting topic in general to really push your art. So we are going to create first a new material called M underscore deferred decal underscore hockey lines. And we are going to then open this up. And we need to make a change over here in the details to make sure that we are working with a deferred decal. So over here underneath material domain, it's not going to be a surface material. Instead, it's going to be a deferred decal. And the next thing we do want to make sure is we're going to change our blend mode from opaque to translucent. And we'd want to double check that the decal blend mode is also set to translucent, because we're going to use some alpha channels to make sure that we are just putting lines down on here. Because you could do some stuff that isn't necessarily has transparency. Like you could do some things with, like, for instance, putting like posters on walls, or things that aren't like very shape specific. So, just be aware of that there's a lot of uses for these deferred decals. Okay, so we got that set, and the next is we're going to create two texture samples. So I'm going to hold down T and click twice. This first one is going to be T hockey lines color. So let's come here, T underscore hockey lines color, which is this one. And this other one we're going to set to T underscore hockey lines normal. Okay, no surprise, we're going to hook this normal one up to our normal map slot. And we're going to actually hook this texture sample, this one up here of the lines, we are going to hook this one. We're going to take the alpha of this and we are going to hook this into the opacity because it has an alpha channel on there. And you can already start to see some of these, like you're going to start to see something. Maybe change it to here. We can see that. We just have like that normal map. We don't have anything else yet. We do need to add a base color to this. And what the book recommends is to just add a real quick multiply where we're going to stick the RGB into the A and we're going to set B to 500. I guess just to make sure that this is like a super white color when we put it out there, and hook that into base color. And you should get something like that. And that's going to be it for this one. So I'm going to hit apply and save this. And in the book, it does go ahead and make the other deferred decal, but before we do that, I think I would rather get this into the world so that we can see it live, and then we'll go back and create the next one. So we are going to find a deferred decal actor. And again, the book tells you to go to the modes tab, which doesn't really exist anymore. So I'll just show you where to find that. It's underneath visual effects. And it is this right here, this decal. So it's called decal. It's not really called deferred decal anymore. So that is a little bit of a difference too. So I'm going to drag and drop this in. And I am going to come over to the details, and this decal material right here, I'm going to drop that in too. So this might take a little bit of, well, first things first, build it. There's usually some issues. You won't be able to see it until you build it. And I think this one gets accidentally put in upside down. So I'm going to actually rotate this around too. So let's do change the rotation from -90 to 0. Did I do it the wrong way? Let's try it the other way. Sometimes you gotta fiddle with this a little bit. Let's try 180. Sorry, I paused the video while my lighting was built, because you won't be able to see it until then. I also have it rotated around so the X is 0, the Y is 90, and the Z is 0 so that you can see it. And now I should be able to rotate it this way to 90. I hate when it does that. Which way is that rotating? Those numbers drive me crazy. Is it this way? Yeah, there we go. And we can also scale this if you needed to fit a little bit better. Not that one. Let's see. Oh, I see. Sorry. 1 second. Sorry, I paused it again just to make sure I got the right size if you wanted to do it similar to how it looks in the book. So in the book, you would if you wanted to be it similar, it should be scaled to 2 on the X, 4.6 on the Y, and oops, I'm scaling the wrong thing. Let's back that up. There it is. 2, 4.6, and 4.6. And then I can move these around. That looks better. And now we have it projected onto the floor. A lot more efficient than trying to actually export out a giant texture that's big enough for that. It's a lot quicker too, probably, and it's gonna save us some memory in our game. So there is that one. And then the next one we're going to demo is doing it so that we're going to put like some wear and tear on this hockey goal. So without having to go and take it into Painter and do some wear and tear. So we are going to create another material. So I go into my demo materials. We're going to call this M underscore mesh decal underscore hockey goal. And we're going to open this up. They're kind of like the other one, we have to come over to the material and make some changes. The first one is we are going to change that blend mode, the material domain to deferred decal. The blend mode is going to go to translucent, but this one's different, where the decal blend mode is going to be changed to debuffer, translucent color, normal roughness. So this one. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to be making a grunge map that we are going to be projecting onto our model. So we are going to have to create all our textures for those, and then we are going to have to make sure that we are projecting it correctly so that it looks correct onto our 3D model. So we are going to get 1, 2, 3 different textures so that we can set up all that fun stuff. So I'm going to hold down T and click 3 times. 1, 2, 3. This first one is going to be for T hockey goal color. T hockey goal color. It's like that, you know, this thing. Next, we're going to get, this one's going to be T hockey goal AORM, which remember stands for ambient occlusion, roughness, metallic. And the last one's going to be our normal. So let's put T hockey goal. I'm sorry, I was grabbing the wrong ones for those. This one needs to be not the hockey goal AORM, it needs to be mesh decal AORM. And this one needs to be mesh decal color. Sorry about that. Because this is going to be the color of like the grunge that we're doing. That's why it looked strange to me. Okay. So we got all 3 of these. We are going to first connect the G into roughness, because remember, this is for AO, the G is for roughness, the B is for metallicness, but we're not going to use any of that. We just are going to use the G off of here. The next thing is we do need to hook up our normal. That one's pretty easy. We're doing the easy ones first. And we want to also work on our base color, which is just going to be this. So we got the 3 easy ones done. So next, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to use opacity. And we're just going to use the green channel off of here for our opacity map. We do need to feed it through a cheap contrast first. So I'm going to right click and get a cheap contrast. I'm going to feed the green into here. And I'm just going to do a constant into the contrast and set that to 2. This can then be fed into our opacity. So the last thing we need to do before we're done is we do need to give it a world position offset. You can kind of see it should look something like this. So that we are, we're going to be projecting it onto an object, and we need to make sure that, because it's a little, we need to make sure that we're going to be doing that correctly. So that we are going to do this by using a camera direction vector, and we can find that by right-clicking, camera direction vector, and then we are going to use a multiply on this so that we have it going in the right direction. And we need another constant to go into B of negative 0.5. This then gets fed into our world position offset. And we should be good to go now. So we're going to hit apply and save. We're going to head over to here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this current hockey goal. I'm going to hit Control C and Control V to copy and paste it. Then underneath the details, I'm going to change out, rather than this, down here, that M hockey goal that is on it, we're going to put in that M mesh decal hockey goal. And it applies like this kind of grungy, splattery kind of material to here. So we have like the two of them. And we have, looks pretty neat. So I moved this up here in case you need one last good look at it before we wrap it up. And that is it for this texture material.